Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking upon sales management in this video. So agenda is very simple. I will love to introduce what exactly is sales management, what do we mean by it, and what is the difference between sales management and marketing management. Exactly speaking, the nuances of sales managers and the marketing managers, let me state it very outright that I will be focusing on the sales part only, the sales management, sales managers roles, the integrated communications process of marketing and sales thereby. So these would be the agenda. Now let us understand the sales flow. The sales management is the attainment of Salesforce goal. The goal is basically to make sales, right, in an effective and an efficient fashion through planning, through staffing, through training, leading, controlling organizational resources. This was stated way back in 1998 by Futrell. So sales management is just nothing but the attainment of Salesforce goal in an effective, efficient fashion through planning, staffing, training, leading, and controlling organizational resources. Managing a sales force involves recruiting, hiring, training, supervising, compensating salespeople, and motivating them to become effective problem solver. Let's say by providing proper planning, backup support so that they can perform their jobs properly. And that is what Salesforce management is all about it. Having the right people, having the key person and the key position and effectively equipping them with resources so that they can elevate the problems of the end customer by providing the requisite products, the requisite services at an affordable rate. So sales management, if you look at from the left side of the screen to the right side, it is the firm to the customer, and in between are the people who are the in transitions altogether. Now they are the people who are handling the customer on behalf of the firm. So firm, sales managers, personal sales representative, and so on and so forth. Now this is what exactly goes around here, and everything that we talk about it is all about values. Now, why are we looking in this particular graph? If you look into it, because essentially the firm is producing, but effectively producing a product. Does it make it productive or does it make it impactful? Does it make it profitable? Probably no, until and unless the product reaches the customers per se, and that is what the aim of sales manager is all about it, the sales representative thereby. So sales management, we are talking about the sales managers and the personal sales representative, and that is where my focus would be. So let us talk about the sales managers. What are their goals? We are looking at sales, we are looking at improving revenues, we are looking at profit and market shares altogether. Controlling the internal cost is the fundamental right of the sales manager. Look at it, we are not only focusing on the exchange of the product but also of the revenues and increasing the margin thereby of the profit as we look into it. Effectively, what does it conclude? Having a wonderful market share, and that is what the objective of sales manager would be. So, and how do they obtain such goals? The question is, how do you obtain it? One per se is to understand the sales environment. You should be aware of the sales environment in its nitty and gritties. Planning for the sales, recruiting the requisite sales force, training the sales force, motivating the sales force, and supervising the sales force. This is how a sales manager would be achieving the goals of the objective of the organization that he or she is engaged with. So, sales manager basically, I'll just give you about the sales environment overview. We are talking about supervising, planning, motivating, recruiting, training, and training of personal sales representative. Now, this particular screen would actually emphasize of what exactly we will be looking into it. Remember, managing of the sales force is very effective as on when on basis. So let us go with the sales environment. Now, did I say about the past environment, the present environment, the sales environment? It is all that is needs to be internalized. It is all that needs to be acclimatized by the sales manager. We need to look at not only the domestic market but also the international market, organizing and probably looking at the future orientation thereby. And that is what the need of the day is all about it. Let me go with the past. So past, what has happened? It was all percolated to industrial revolutions. After World War One, the need for mass distribution became evident. 1950s and the marketing concept, and how did it make an impact out there? So yes, we're talking about industrial revolution, World War One, the need of mass distribution, and the marketing concept. Now, what exactly is happening as of today? That is where we are looking into it. We are trying to build a relationship with the customers. That is what the relational approach is all about. It current jobs in sales, opportunities in sales management, as the case might be. Look at what, with the help of the organizing the sales force, organizing the assignment of the task, the group of the task into department, and the allocation of the department thereby, and how do we access it is the fundamental cause to it. This is something which we need to take into account as on when on basis. The structures of the sales manager jobs, how do we come across with it, and the chain of commands. We should be aware of the chain of command as this is happening, as it is there. So let us look into the sales environment. Now, there are many sales environment. There are issues pertaining to legal things. There are issues pertaining to the ethical things. Let us understand the legal things. There might be consumer protection laws wherein the consumer are made to aware that they are not to be duped. Antitrust laws between the firms or the organization, so that no firm becomes a monopoly in the market. Unfair trade practices, again, effectively reducing malpractices in the market. Fraud, misrepresentation, uniform commercial code, direct to consumer sales, anti-discrimination laws. With respect to the ethical issues, we are talking about creating ethical corporate structure, relationship with the customers, relationship with the competitors, relationship with the firms, and with the society. And these are various issues that one needs to encompass this all together. You are going with one of the conflicting views with another of the conflicting views, that a firm is always having it. This is not fair, absolutely not fair. So that needs to be addressed too. We are talking about the sales environment as well as an international perspective is concerned. Let's say every country would have its own ethnic composition, right? And their ethnic composition would have different sets of values, principles, ethos. So we need to look into those ethnic composition, religious orientation, social class environment, education, gender bias, differences in negotiating style, differences in decision making, job status, company protocol, social aspect, perception of time, and personal relationship. These are the things that needs to be addressed all together. I again repeat: ethnic composition, religious orientation, social class, environment, education, gender bias, differences in negotiation style, differences in decision making, job status and company protocol, social aspect, perception of time, personal relationship, as on when on basis it happens in. Let us, we have discussed about the past issue, the present issue. Let us understand what is there in store for the future for sales environment. What does sales organization of the future look? It might be making sales only via the metaverse or the online platform, perhaps. So yes, now let us come to the planning aspect. We have understood the overview of sales aspect. Planning is all about automation, forecasting, financial planning, quotas, and time and territory. Let me go with the quotas thereby, or planning per se altogether. So what is we are looking out here is planning is essentially a conscious, systematic process of making decision about goals, about activities that a particular individual or a group or a work unit or organization will eventually pursue in the future, and the use of resources that is required to attain them, the composition of the resources, or should I say the consumption of the resources. Everything needs to be planned. The manpower has to be planned, the resources has to be planned, the finances has to be arranged, everything needs to be tied down. Planning the automated sales force, hardware, types of computer, printer, copiers, phones, we are looking at it. Software, what type of software does the sales force need, as on when on basis. Planning the sales force, how do we forecast sales? Sales force composite, jury of executive opinion, survey of the buyer's intention, trend projections, moving averages, exponential smoothing, regression, econometric model, and these are things that goes around it. You need to understand. So we need to forecast sales accordingly per se. The sales force composition, the statistical analysis that gives us a trend, that gives us a moving average, and so on and so forth needs to be accounted for. Financial planning for sale. Let's say we have to look for budgeting and probably having a profit objective in mind. For budgeting, we need to have the salaries for the salespeople to be mandated, the administrative expenses that needs to be accounted for, other selling payrolls, let's say stationaries, traveling allowances, other selling expenses per se, and communication expenses thereby. So these needs to be accounted for. What about the profit objective? First and foremost, we need to achieve the break-even analysis. Need to come where there is equivalent amount of revenues and cost implicated. So whatever revenue is coming in on whatever expenses that we are making out, there should be an equilibrium. That point is known as break-even analysis. That point needs to be identified. Controlling the budget accordingly, selling the budget to the top management as on when on basis, because until and unless the top management is convinced, probably they will not approve the budget and you will not be able to achieve the objective. Let's say, look about the quotas. Every sales quota, the specific sales, the specific profit objective of salesperson has to be expected to achieve. Now, in terms of dollar sales, in terms of unit volume, in terms of margin, in terms of selling efforts, and the product tag that comes around it, we need to make those quotas a reality. Other types of quotas are expense quotas, profit quotas, and activity quotas thereby. Talking about time and territory management, optimum time must be spent with those prospects with the greatest of all potential. Territory management is what we are looking into it. Yes, there is the case of identifying and classifying the prospect, analyzing and developing the sales for people work all together. How many salespeople are working in the are required in the territory support, territory boundaries, optimum way to travel from one person to the next person per se. So we have finished with sales objectives, sales management planning. Now let us move to the recruitment part. The recruitment part is all about recruiting and selection. What is happening with this as far as recruitment is concerned? Recruitment is nothing but a set of activities and processes used to legally obtain sufficient number of individuals. That takes people into accounted for with their requisite skills so that it achieves the organizational objective at the best possible interest, best possible fashion. Let me appraise you about those sales managers, ask you how, what should be recruited, who are the individuals that needs to be targeted for them to achieve the goals of the firm. So where do you find such recruit? You can have it from other department, definitely yes. There can be people who can be recommended from the word of mouth or the existing workforce thereby. You can have the recruitment from the army, you can have the recruitment from universities, institutions, you can have it from professional associations, we can have it from the advertisement in classified employment agencies, unsolicited applicants thereby. So next apart from the recruitment would be selecting what exactly the firm looking for. People that can sell successfully, remain with the company over a long period of time. Problems? Ethical, probably legal restrictions. Firms must attain a good image and definitely must be having a valid job description. What is meant by good image? You cannot recruit or select underage people or select from a minority community or select, or probably there's certain regulation of the laws of the land of the federal government that needs to be attained to. So you need to understand what portrays a good image, what is what are ethical and legal restrictions. So we have discussed sales overview, we have talked about planning, we have also talked about recruiting. Let me talk about training thereby. Now remember, training is all about having a new workforce to be trained for, and the second part would be having the existing workforce to be trained for. So please understand, existing vis-a-vis the new workforces, and each module of the training would be different because the audience are different, their requirements are different. Salespeople effort put forth by an employer to provide the salesperson job related culture, skills, knowledge, attitude that result in an improved performance in the selling environment per se. Now, talking about training and how do we go about training program to work around it? First and foremost thing is to give a valid, detailed job description. Did you get my point? If you don't have the detailed job description, do you think that will suffice? No. The next thing that you need to know is the product knowledge. You have to have the product knowledge of completely, the values of the company knowledge, the market knowledge, and selling techniques thereby. Without this, the training of sales force will not be as effective. So why train? First and foremost, to decrease turnover or attrition rate per se, you should always go for training. Next, to increase sales, to increase revenue. The third wow factor is to have the thrill of satisfying the customer thereby, and probably of decreasing the cost what we are looking into it. Let us come into the development part, wherein we are talking about the training to the existing workforce as such. So there are things that keeps on changing over a period of time. When can advanced training be used, as on when on basis? So sales management, we have finished overview of sales management, we have finished planning, we have finished recruitment, we have finished training. Let me address to you the motivating aspect for the sales management overview. Yes. Right, let us go with motivating, compensating, and indirect incentive. The most common use of definition of salesperson's motivation includes three dimensions. They are intensities, persistence, and direction. What we are looking into, intensity refers to the amount of mental and physical effort put by the sales force. That is what is intensity, the way they want to achieve the objective. Persistence describes the salesperson choice to expend their effort over a period of time, and direction is to imply the salespeople choosing where their efforts are being spent, how it has been manipulated. Let me take you to motivating. Motivating is all about recognizing the person, the salesforce person who is putting in the effort, awarding them in terms of kinds or in terms of money. So, and then there is something called special communication in the form of uh, some kind of notice that needs to be circulated among the office, having it pasted or the photographs of the star performer on the notice board of the in the premises of the organization. These are all elements of motivating the salesperson thereby. Let me look into the compensating fact. Nothing, absolutely nothing motivates like compensating, both in monetary and non-monetary kind. We're talking about salary, we're talking about commission, we're talking about bonuses, and a combination of everything that has been given above there. So we have monetary communication motivations. We have spoken about it. Let me speak about non-monetary also. Let's say we can have expenses allowances. Let's say we can have themes for certain competition that can come around it. The prizes, the advantages, the disadvantages, the benefits, the perks, the anything that can be actually invigorating the sales force to attain a bigger performance target per se. Let us go to the last aspect of supervising. We have finished the overview, we have finished the planning, the recruiting, the training, the motivating, and the last one is supervising. It's all about leadership, supervisions, and evaluation. Let me talk about supervising leadership. Leadership, remember, is the way of getting things done by others, through others, and that is the style of leaders that can impanel that. So we have different style, we have different types of leader. We talk about supervision, the actual overseas of directing of the day-to-day activities of the salespeople thereby. Evaluating analysis of sales volume and marketing cost analysis, thereby how exactly we come across with it. This is what evaluation of the sales volume would be taking around it. No matter, everybody might be putting in an effort, but certain people are star performer because they translate into huge dollar amounts of sales. That needs to be understand. So what exactly are they doing good? Can it be mimicked? Can those competencies be transferred to other salespersons? So analysis of the sales volume, marketing of the cost analysis needs to be taken into account. With this, we come to what about is the personal representative. We have already spoken about the sales manager till this point. So what we are looking now, speaking around it, is for having types of salespeople: selling environment, prospecting, pre-approaching, approaching, presentation, objections, closing, and probably follow-up thereby. Follow-up is only after sales have been made around it. Again, repeating it to you. First and foremost to be types of salespeople, selling environment, then the sales methodology altogether. We are prospecting, we are pre-approaching, approaching, presentation, objection, closing, and follow-up. So yes, what is personal selling? It is a direct face-to-face communication, in-person communication, oral communication designed to explain an individual's or a firm's good and services or ideas to fit in into one or more perspective customers, as the case might be. We are talking about identifying needs. That is how we go around it, and it all starts from the top, from of prospecting or looking for people, looking for customer, and probably making a short list of approaching them. This is what the approaching things would be coming about it. Once you have shortlisted around it, then eventually acting around it, working around it, approaching upon them, giving a presentation to them regarding their company, regarding their product, regarding their services, and how do we go around it. And the moment you are giving a presentation, people might come and make objections for why they do not want to avail the services, avail the product, for whatever the reasons. The reasons might be durability, the reasons might be flexibility, the reasons might be price component. Now these are the objections that usually comes around it. But then if you can handle those objection, elevate their problems, their fears about it, you are going to make a wonderful sales approach. Once the sales has been done, this is a place where you have to go for a follow-up person, and that is what the sales process is all about it. Remember the type of communication that we are looking at with the marketing. We are talking about price, place, promotion, product. That is what we are looking into it. But as a sales managers, we are only interested into these promotional aspect of personal selling, promotion aspect of public relation, promotion aspect of advertising, promotion aspect of sales promotion, and definitely the last aspects of direct marketing, ensuring that your product, the company's services are being enjoyed by the end customer. Thereby, with this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the last very moment. I hope we have understood what exactly has to be done with sales management per se. Thank you very much.